those Candelas, a lot of flashbangs packed into a single. Defending areas just overall a lot easier. It's going to make pushes, specifically onto places like basement, a lot more difficult because you can't really cover the hatch drops very well. So Ying is also quite a common ban, and especially in a map like Club.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will just apologise, I misspoke earlier. Yod, the previous roster, obviously they left the org after the group stage, which is why I didn't see. They actually made it to 4th place. That's entirely on me. They made it to 4th place, but they're now Tracker Clan. So this team, they have a lot of sort of prestige to follow up on just because of how far the previous roster from this org actually went. But again, obviously, we're talking about past and present, but this is an entirely clean slate. Season 6 is completely fresh, and yeah, sure, they had a bad first week. This is where we go to try and level the playing field a bit, get back into that winning streak, because we do just have a slight technical pause because it wouldn't be Siege without them.
Yeah, well, we can use this technical pause really just wrap up the map bans there. Solace, nothing really too out of the ordinary. You see Solace banned a lot. The gadget is just incredibly strong. Mozzie, though, Mozzie's interesting. I've seen a sort of increased ban rate of Mozzie in ESA especially. I just guess teams don't really... It might be the gun, it might be just the overall sort of nature of the operator in general. The gadget, to me, doesn't strike me as something particularly oppressive. It's like a slight annoyance. The gun's good, the Roni's good, it has a very high rate of fire. Siege, obviously, one-hit headshot, it can be incredibly lethal. Nitro as well can be a sort of particular sticking point in an attack. But there's still operators like Azami, like Valkyrie, who are open here that haven't been banned, and yet, well, we aren't seeing Yod choose to pick these operators. We have a Mirror, who I guess you could also argue is a very strong operator.
Yeah.
But no Valk and no Azami here is particularly interesting to me because of just how strong those operators are. Church, you can hold a lot more angles using that Azami, and Valk is just sort of universally a very high-value operator. Just the ability to place down more cameras allows you to have better intel when you're dead, even better intel when you're alive. There's a lot of places to hide it as well in Club. The ceilings have a lot of different props dotted around, so there's much more
as well
to place the cameras, but we're not seeing that brought. We're seeing the Legion being brought in fact, which honestly it is a strange pick to me, really. Usage, but ever since those nerfs years ago, when you can't see the icons of the needles through walls anymore, I've seen the usage of Legion drastically decrease because you can't really use them for intel as much just anymore because you don't have exact sort of positioning on his head.
Yeah, I think it might come down to just sort of the gun again, obviously. We've seen Mozzie a lot more in ESA and the console situations that we've been in, because obviously me and Pooble, we come from more PC side of things. Mozzie is a lot less common in that area of the game than in PlayStation. I think it does just come down to the gun. And I'm choosing to ignore that Western Church wall for now. We'll see if that actually comes into effect, because they have that entire middle panel open, which is an interesting strategy, but the attack might just choose to ignore it, as we see a lot of pressure coming in through the kitchen early on. They will obviously be focusing on that kitchen hatch, trying to get that opened up. As we see the first sort of entry into the building now, Sarmeister, very quick entry in towards the bar, using that skeleton key to open things up in there, start to get the floor open as well as just use that secondary hard breach onto the hatch. So with the first minute of the round now gone, it's a lot of just setting up, a lot of preparing for the latter half, or the latter stages even of this round.
Yeah, but they haven't really prepared for that room clear. They're fully clearing the ground floor, but they're just leaving the second floor untouched. So we have Scrim up there on the wall, and he could play spoiler for this entire round if he's sort of not checked. He is going to get a little bit antsy here, push down the red stairs, sees that drone, but there's no one on it. So he's given this position for free. Obviously, if someone flicks on that drone, the intel will be relayed. It looks like Joao is on the drone, so I would hope that the SG have seen this Roma here. He's just pushing ever closer to the bar. He'll be given a freebie, but some whiff shots really just spoil that entire game. There's a soft hatch behind him, so he could rotate back, but instead he goes all the way back up the stairs, and the attacks still
Why not?
are just not choosing to deal with this at all. His Exia is in the site.
Yeah, the Montaigne came down dirt. Now on the bomb site, you do have the Gemini clone drop down the hatch. How Rissa is able to get that one, but it's Snows who finds the first pick. Ice does find a response. Exia, the pistol whip as well, finding the trade from that opening pick. However, this is where the flank now comes into action. Scrim flanking, shut down by Holz Rissa, making it a 3 versus 2 as the diffuser gets planted. The Montaigne continuing to be this oppressive force as it's just Kiama now in 1 versus 3. The pistol shots coming through, pressure and attention diverted. A lovely 180, but can't find the follow-up. Spyro's on the hatch, and Spyro finds a final kill for round number 1. Goes away with Eternal Synergy.
Yeah, I really like that from Eternal Synergy because they immediately sort of identify that they don't need to clear up this Roma if they can just get free access with that Monty. There was no one stopping him coming through dirt. So they realized that they can just put immense pressure on the site by having one of their players just walk in, draw a bunch of attention. You have the hatch open as well. A sort of critique I have of that Yod defense was they had 4 impact nades there, but there was not a single successful impact trick on the kitchen hatch, so it got open incredibly early. So overall, these two sort of avenues there, the dirt tunnel and the kitchen hatch, as well as Moto being opened, they just put a lot of pressure on the site very quickly. So the Roma, sure, he could potentially get a kill. He was sort of gifted the opportunity there onto Jawa, but he misses. And then suddenly that's one less player on site you have to deal with. He goes all the way back upstairs. It could be a great play, but it just doesn't really work out. And it opens up the site just to be swarmed there. So very good attack from ESG. A little bit of a critique there for you though, Cameron. I believe pistol whip is actually when you hit someone with a gun, not when you shoot them. So actually your call was wrong, actually. So, but
I might fall asleep.
We're seeing a vigil.
Please don't today.
So, the Vigil is interesting. It's another case of, you don't see it really on PC, where we're sort of used to, but I've seen it quite a bit in console, and if all he's going to do here is run out, then...
LM's flashback.
We might not even get to sort of break down what the Vigil can do with his gadget, but it looks like the Swan Beak is not going to net much, so Vigil's definitely interested here because of that sort of selfish nature of the gadget, as he's still going for this.
Oh my god.
I don't think anything's going to come of it. He's not got a particularly aggressive angle there, as the attack have just gone into garage.
Yeah, they've fully managed to sneak past. Absolutely nothing gained off that one. And this time, some attention being paid more closely to that dirt tunnel. Kiama on the Oryx this time, still watching, and they've got that same sort of Church West wall set up again, with just fully opening that middle wall. I'm wondering if you might be able to give some insight onto that, but they'll have to wait for a second, because it's Spyro taking down Zed as a first kill on this round, 4 versus 5 immediately for the defense of Yod, and it's another poor start for them because, let's face it, round number 1 didn't quite go their way, and round number 2 starting as hopefully ESG means to go on for their sake.
Yeah, the Mirror getting very aggressive bottom main there. I'm not really sure what the play is. Just try and get a cheeky kill to even it out, I suppose. As for that middle wall, Cameron, I'm clueless.
What is that?
I could sit here and make the classic Macy J joke here. But I don't know what that wall... If anything, seeing how ESG used the Monty last round, that wall is an incredibly poor decision. For me, anyway. Because you give the Monty free access into Church, and that's a lot of pressure. In the pressure, though, Scrim finally responds, gets it back to a 4 versus 4. And comparing this to last round, the defense have actually done a lot better job of keeping the attack at bay. And that is partly due to the lack of the Monty. And in fact, Gamma is even gone onto an Oryx, professional hater there, just going straight to the hard counter to stop any particular Montagne plays. Jawa is approaching the one of that main stairs, so overall, a fairly good early game from the defense, despite losing that one block.
Well, nades coming through, shots being peppered as well. This position from Kanzi will just get a lot more precarious as the drop has actually come through into that moto area, but Russell's not able to get anything from it. C4 out from Kanzi, finds a second. Jawa going down on those main stairs, and it's now 30 seconds left. 1 versus 4. Kanzi going absolutely huge with a triple kill on the round, and there's a Starmeister has absolutely nothing to do. Scrim goes hunting, gets shut down for it on those main stairs, but Diffuser not even in the hands of the Buck, who's just got to kind of sit on this hatch, hope someone wanders in. Now does go for the drop, has to turn on the swivel, turn on a dime, and Snows is there to shut things down. It's a questionable round, as Kanzi is just able to get 3 picks there completely for free on the bottom of those main stairs.
I don't know if we should be attributing that to the great big hole in the church wall, because
I don't think so.
Access there. But
you can do that with head holes.
I'm still not sold.
No.
I'm going to stand my ground. I'm going to say that hole is a bit silly. But it's still one round, and that's mainly just due to the time being wasted, right?
Yeah.
You get that 1 pick, but the attack, they just weren't that swift on the rest of the clear, the rest of the setup. So it meant that despite being a man up so early on, they still only had around a minute to think about executing. And once that response comes in, suddenly just be back in a very bad situation. They just start dropping hatches and getting guns down. But don't have to worry about hatches now, unless you go Logi, because we're on Master and Jin. We're going to be seeing a slightly different defense.
What a segue.
Thank you very much. There's no like vertical aspect from above. There is some from below, but we aren't seeing a book in play. In fact, we're only seeing a single set of nades here. So vertical isn't going to be that big a stick for the attack here. I'd imagine it's going to be a horizontal clear. They're going to want to get in through CC, breach open another external wall, move that pressure into cache and go through construction. Ideally, you also breach the reinforced wall and jacuzzi, just to add a little bit of extra pressure there. But just from this attack alone, I do not think we're going to be going through a vertical.
No. I don't think so either, unless you maybe use like the RCE to open the hatch, but that would be a slightly bit silly. Another thing as well, just to point out about the jacuzzi breach, is if everything goes to pot over on this construction side, you have an avenue to sort of escape from in the end of things. That breach does get opened up. The mute jammer not quite far enough over, because obviously now it's a sphere. It's a bit easier to be able to get around that with that thermite. And this is soft. Okay. Again, not necessarily a fan of this. However, they don't have a buck to really make use of that or a sledge. So again, it might just have to, and they don't have any soft breach either. So maybe you get the Flores involved just to open up this wall. But right now, you do kind of just have a Montaigne staring at the mute through the mirror. Obviously, Exia bringing that one along again. As first fights now coming through here over on the CC side. But again, it's nothing too much. This attack just taking far too long. Sen has to reload, has to dip away, give a little bit of that control over. But again, this attack just taking so long to even get anywhere. Russo, that's a shot and a half. Sen being taken down. But that's now half the round gone, and it's only 1 pick onto the defense. The Montaigne has found the way into the site now as well, so pressure continuing to build on this defense. But again, maybe we start to question the tiding again from the side of ESG.
Fantastic shot there onto the frost. Unfortunate, Scrim gets downed as well. Should be able to be picked up. And this whole defensive setup is still giving me questions, and it just doesn't seem to be reaping the rewards. Monty is just causing chaos here as we get a nade all the way through the window, preventing it now as a 3 versus 5. And once again, Exia is stomping around on site, applying so much pressure. There is a late response by Scrim, but the plant's going down. With a Monty inside next to that case, this is surely a 1 round for the attack.
Well, you would hope so. Jawa nearly gets called out there. Actually, they do end up trading. Spyro, though, does take down Kanzi, making it 3 versus 1. Scrim has it all to do. Can't even get the first. Meister shuts it down in the end round here. That attack was, off the back of some really nice kills. Let's not take away from that. But again, defensive setups, little bit questionable from Yod. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, and I kind of like the strategy in Cash, because it very much appeared like the defenders had rotated out. I think you had 3 playing in that side of the map, and 2 of them walked out. You still have that frost lingering. Unfortunately, they just get absolutely shut down by Holzrusser on the Yana. So that's a bit unfortunate. That's a gunfight just not going your way. Unlucky. I appreciate the idea.
Yeah.
But I don't really appreciate the idea of that soft wall on Jacuzzi, because you tend to bring a soft breach. You tend to also bring a secondary hard breach like an ace. So immediately you can start doing the mirror window. You might be able to fully
Yeah.
reach it because of the mute jammer. But as we were saying, the mute jammer radius is actually quite small. So you can still make a hole on that wall, apply pressure with grenades, with flashbang, whatever. And you're just giving the attack such an easy time getting that breach open. Because, don't get me wrong, Clubhouse 2023, you're going to be getting external open. It's just a matter of fact. That's an inevitability.
Any
So
map
many tools
2023.
Yeah. But you still want to sort of waste a bit of time, right? You don't want to just give it them for free. And then also, if you're not going to reinforce it, at least be a bit more aggressive with it. There's only a single hole there made very late. Try and use it to get a little bit cheeky, maybe. Just try and provide a bit of early aggression, get an early pick, just to justify that setup. Because once again, it's soft here, and it's just not going to really do much for the defense.
No, I don't really understand. Unless you want Scrim like dashing out of it, I don't understand the plan here. Instead, he's going to get very aggressive there. Finds a pre-fire onto one. Spyro, though, that's actually from all the way across the map over the other side through the CC window. Does find the trade, but that's still a decent start. You take down the Flores, so that's a lot of the utility denial gone. Obviously, not quite the main prize of the Thermite, but again, considering the Jacuzzi wall's left soft, it doesn't really matter. Essentially, if the Thermite goes down here, you know, you've got everything that you need as a hard breacher. Which, again, questions have to be raised as these vertical grenades will be coming through the play. Not quite there, information a little bit lacking for the attack of Eternal Synergy. Snows, though, with a lovely shot, taking down Samai, so maybe just a little bit unprepared for the Jaeger to just go on that swing, and a C4 out as well, taking down the Montaigne of Exia. As Kanzi continuing to dominate the kills for Yod, but Snows also on that same number. Making it light work.
Yeah, I just don't really understand this attack. They're putting so much pressure on that CC side when Jacuzzi is given them for free. They have so much ability to apply pressure here on this side of the map, but they're just choosing to go for almost the much more heavily fortified extension. And it's cost them 3 bodies here. This is likely going to be a defensive round win. The defense have really sort of, well, I don't even want to say they've learned from their mistakes, because mainly the attack just haven't capitalized on this unconventional setup. Pulse is going to try and get a pick through that window, but he's not going to find anything, and he's still at immense risk from that CC window. We're seeing Snows just slowly creep up there. Spyro, he finally goes in, and a Holt actually does take out Snows. Gets shut down by the mirror. Holt. Oh,
nice. Okay.
Oh my.
Yeah, it felt like the mirror, they didn't even know he was in the site. It just felt like they weren't even aware that there was someone playing behind the gym equipment. Like, I don't understand.
It's just so much wasted on the other side of the map for just no
like, go for a rush or something. Like,
bring a book. You know that wall's going to be open. Bring a book, I say.
At least they didn't have claymores on the ace this time. You know, they did kind of learn. They brought the soft breach, opened out fairly quickly, but then they just had a Montaigne there just sort of farting about. Like, I don't get that.
It was an interesting adaptation, I suppose. If
that's one way to say it.
They changed the aces getup. I appreciate that. But
yeah, they didn't really use that. Oh no.
They're doing it again.
Oh god.
You know, maybe it's going to pay dividends this time. You know, maybe they're going to bait the Monty in, some incredible play, get a kill. I don't know. But you can easily rotate with headballs, and you block Exia as well. Exia, despite this 2-2 record, he's been a menace on this Monty. He's been just applying so much stress towards the defense because he just gets in their faces. He can get so much ground for just nothing. No utility in his use. But I appreciate that they brought the Oryx there just to shut it down. But it's not going to be alone. They've played Monty in a pretty good way on these things. They've always had other players covering in case of something like an Oryx and like an Impact maybe knocking his shield. So the Oryx lane isn't going to stop this, and if you're making your defense Montagne accessible, it's just going to be even worse.
I love the very English pronunciation of Montagne. Really showing some cultural awareness there, Joe.
Well, we gotta make it known with our silly little accents, our silly little voices.
That's true.
Montagne. Oh, you say it.
Yeah, That was
I'll let
even more offensive.
I'll let you cast.
No, I don't want it. Don't want that. Joking. Okay.
GCSE French.
Not much really happened. Okay, never mind. I spoke it into existence. Then, being taken out by Spyro as the very first bit of action on this round. Scrim regressing actually throughout this position, but rotating back to the site in the process, finding a bit closer of a position. Nearly finds the shots onto Exia actually, but they don't really connect. Obviously, the shield going to play a massive part in the way that gunfight panned out. So it's still going to be 5 versus 4, but again, it's that same issue that we've highlighted is the time. ESG just really taking their sweet time with things, even though Spyro got that opening pick onto Sen, the Vigil going down without too much contention apart from, a lot of time wasted. They're still... It's been about a minute since that opening engagement, and we haven't really seen anything. Only finally is that vertical starting to be opened up as the drops come through. Exia now inside a moto, and looking towards that big open hole. It's almost like an inviting present, just waiting to be opened up. But instead, the pressures and the focus is actually going to be towards this this moto door instead, as Jawa has just rushed down blue, not able to hit any of the shots. No, that's so unfortunate. 3v2, 3v2, yeah, 3v2 now, making 3 versus 1. Kiana finally finishing that rotation down. Sarmeister, the only one remaining, the only player from Eternal Synergy standing here, as again, the round timer continuing to be such a massive problem for this attacking team. The timeout requested, so after this round, it's a little bit of a tactical pause, being able to talk things through before that final defensive round. But the defense just going to go hunting. Lovely connection from Sarmeister taking down Scrim. Kiama is close on this door, though. Should be able to have this one in hand. Snozo being caught out, and suddenly this might look a little bit possible. The SMG-11's there. The shots don't connect, so Yods, they have the lead here. That round was, again, peculiar, but that middle wall opening, again, not really anything to write home about.
Monty should have gone through it. I
know.
You can get a plant. I'm convinced, right? If I'm like the coach for your ESG here, if you see them bring this, obviously you can't now because they've just won it. But
yeah,
you can ferry an attacker in through that, hide them behind the Monty, and just plant in that black box position. You are open to do that with that Monty, and they just don't do it. And then obviously the Monty gets flanked. And I don't want anyone in chat saying, "Oh, the holes there are really good." No, you can do it with head holes. The full body holes have contributed nothing there. It's just a weird setup, and the attack just haven't been able to adapt to it, even though there is a glaring weakness. And it combos brilliantly with your attacking strategy, that their love for the Montagne, but they just aren't using it properly. So we're going to CCTV cash. First time seeing it in this match, I believe.
Yeah.
So something a little bit different. Exia, though, he sticks with his old trusty Montagne. How do you say it? Go on.
I think it's... I think because it's French. It's like the E is more like it's more like montagne. It's like more montagne. Yeah.
Okay.
Montagne.
Well, or just the Montagne, and will likely be
Montagne.
The garage side.
Alibi's best friend.
There's nothing to stop them there. We usually sometimes see a Frost put their mat at the top of the stairs. There's no Frost here. So Exia should be given free range into that Raptors position. And God, I hope he actually sees the opportunity and uses it, unlike last time, because he can be an absolute menace to the defense here, putting a lot of stress on the player or players playing in that position. That allows his other teammates to sort of slip in, take them fights, win them as well. So overall, you want Exia to be taking the position, because Garage is a very strong position on the attack here. Because once you get control of Garage, you can cut off Red, you can cut off Cash, you can get a nice plant behind that server up, as long as you cover below for C4. So I would really imagine that's the kind of take they're going to go for, given this lineup here. Potentially a breach open as well, and CC with that OSA as well. Just being a little bit more of a nuisance to it as well to the defense.
Yeah, I got really worried there for a second. Exia switching onto the Zephyr for about half a second. But no, back on the Montaigne, and like you said, it will just be focused towards this garage, as we can already see the drones coming through. Claymore's being set up to prevent any sort of run out from the defense, but one impact grenade will take both of those away. But Exia already making his way at least into this garage. You do have the intel as well, information being gathered by the Gemini clone from the Yana of Rustzer, which will be going through here. Is again, Montaigne, Exia just waiting, slowly pushing up these stairs and finds contact with the player up here. I believe that's Kiama, so potential for the shots, and there it is. Lovely pick onto Ruzza and Exia. Yep, absolutely no surviving it. The Remadash comes through. Good trade from some Meister, but it's still a 4 versus 3 player advantage for Yod. Impact grenades out Scrim, still applying this pressure on the downstairs, and well, nearly some shots coming through there. And again, just spots a little bit of the player, a little bit of the peak, but Sunmeister gets away from things. I think my main focus now has got to be that platform breach. It's still not opened up and still electrified even.
Yeah, and we're seeing the power of those keeper barricades as well. There's no one playing Rafters, but they just don't know. The barricades hide the position, so the attacker's still so afraid, and well, they really should be, because as you point out there with that concerned expression Scrim, he's just waiting for them to push up those stairs, but he might not be given that opportunity after all, as it appears maybe a red stairs take is in order. They're finally bringing out those impact DMPs that stay in pocket all around, and none of them work. So platform breach is staying closed, and now that I imagine the attacker's starting to panic here, because they're going to have to funnel up either red stairs or the garage, and yeah, Scrim's probably going to slaughter them if they go up rafters.
Yeah, absolutely. There comes the peak, and Sarmeister going down. Oh, nearly a shot into the second as well, but Jar was able to find it, taking down Scrim. 2 versus 3 now, but the timer continuing to tick lower and lower. Only about 30 seconds left here in this round. D4 ripped by Kanzi. Another attempt at it over the top. Doesn't find its purchase. Opens up that wall now for them. Actually doesn't. Just a little bit too high. And Kanzi with the rotation takes down one and the second. Yod with a 4-2 half here. Which honestly, there are a couple glaring mistakes from this defense. But the attack just as weak, I'd say. You know, we certainly talked about that round timer a lot.
I mean, I've really got to appreciate what Kiama did that round. Identifying the Montani was there, but he didn't get too aggressive because he knows that someone's going to be covering that. Especially once the Monty calls out there's an Oryx here, you know someone's going to be trying to just get that trade. So he gets a beautiful pick onto the garage door and then can just take out Exia. And now Kiama, he's just going right into the thing he was sort of designed to counter on the Monty himself. Just try and be an equal sort of nuisance to the defense. It's likely not going to go as well as anticipated. So we honestly might just see Yod falling into the same sort of pitfalls here, really. They might just forego it at a full map clear in general, just to apply pressure directly with that Monty through dirt, sort of faster take. But that sort of cost ESG a lot of attacking opportunities, so it's going to be interesting to see how Yod sort of develop on the attacking strategies of ESG here, because it is looking like a very similar lineup. Although, there we go, not Nirvana. I was going to be a bit concerned if we didn't bring Nirvana, and oh my, we're having not a giant walkable hole in church. Incredible. So that's going to limit what Kiama can do. And Kiama, he's so terrified by that revelation in defensive setups that he's gone all the way onto the floors, and Kenzie as well on the gridlock. So it's actually sort of become a completely different attacking lineup there.
Yeah, the composition switching up massively. As again, we're seeing a slow start to these rounds. The defense happy to just sit back, waste the time of the attack, who, let's face it, we saw in the first half and we're seeing again here. They're kind of chasing Ghost a little bit. We're seeing this logistics hatch opening up, and I don't really see for why. There's absolutely nobody here on the top floor. And this feels like this could have been something that was noted in maybe the prep phase. Instead, a lot of drones going towards the site themselves, and while it certainly not works out for them, as again, they're droning through strip, they're taking all of this precaution where it doesn't actually need to be. There's no one roaming at all, and they're still going for this full roam clear. It is still a bit quicker as we see the vertical being opened up here with about 2 minutes left to go, but the furthest away someone is from sight is Russa here on the secret stairs.
Yep, chasing ghosts really the attack here. Rosa is on that blue set position, as he said, so he could be a bit of a sticking point here. He could try and even get an aggressive pick if he wants, but
He's gone away.
I think given the clock, yeah, you've burned off nearly half the time doing absolutely nothing. The attack have waited enough to charge everything on that logistics attack for seemingly no reason. So overall, a bit of utility gone. Your map control that you set out to control, so just that basement, has not been touched. But really, good start of the defense. They just need to not get caught off by these vertical angles. We saw the smoke of Exia almost get caught out there by the Flores breach, but he's got a more safe positioning there, and he's going to be a real key for this next game, because those smoke grenades will just massively halt the pace of it all, because he just keeps the building below that switching hatch. There's nothing the attack can really do without taking tick damage, being in a very vulnerable position, having the vision obscured. The vision obscured, I actually haven't seen any Fenrir on this match. I was legitimately thinking we would see him, because that fits in so well on this defense. That's too quick.
Yeah, Selmeister finding the trade there and then found that opening pick. That's some smoke going down, but had to use 2 of his 3 canisters, so not necessarily the worst, but the drop has come through. Look at how far Scrim is just behind this crate of boxes, and over the top finds Russer unaware. AK's player now providing a little bit of trouble, but it's not to be. Spyro is now the only one left inside a church who found 3 players up against him, and Scrim, the first player to challenge, takes him down. Yod, another very successful round, and this is, I have to say, a stark contrast from the cafe that we saw last week.
Yeah, I mean, the smoke being killed there, right? That is the most crucial part of that attack. We can sort of sing the praises of that beautiful sort of facade of a roam, but once it comes to the execute, if you lose the most vital defender, you're in such a difficult position. If you're the mana that's traded out, you can afford a trade there if you've dealt with that smoke, because that gives you so much freedom to push around that basement. To establish positions, like firm positions in this hole, take down defenders, because you don't have to worry about getting gassed out. So, great sort of adaptation from Yod there, seeing that,
yeah,
okay, they're all on side, we need to sort of explode here, get a pick, try and isolate out that as possible. It's going to be interesting to see sort of how ESG respond, if they choose to sort of continue to be more of a sort of bunkery team, or if they will fully extend out here, out of match together. Yeah, the Frost sort of gives that away with a shield. Yep.
Yeah.
So we're seeing. Real question for Yod here is: do they focus on the extension, or do they sort of identify that okay, there's 3 players out here? Do we just hit site directly?
Yeah. They've reinforced, I think, one of the walls. Maybe the second one is up as well. So Jacuzzi not soft. We're seeing a lot of things that we thought were questionable in that first half be fixed, but it's now different issues coming to light. It's more to do just with the gunfights, I'd say. And well, this is a not good start for this defensive side of Eternal Synergy. A grenade from Sen. That's going to be a vertical one, taking down the mirror. Spyro falling in the first minute. C4 now gone, obviously, as the player has been taken down. But that's about it. Obviously, good progress from the attack. They've got that pick early, which is an important part. That's something that we didn't see in that first round, or even in the first half, really. So again, good progress. Scrim now inside of CC as well, going to be trying to collapse onto these players. Jala, one of them at least, who's inside of the cash room, just has to hide behind the table. But it's a nade again from Sen, who's just absolutely decimating this defense from below, and that allows Scrim to get right up, taking down Russer free of charge. And now it's a 2 versus 5 pressure continuing to build. The Starmeister now falling as well. Exia, the last one left, but it's flawlessly taken by the attacking side of Yod Esports. I mean, what a round that was.
So, I mean, Sen gets away with murder literally twice. Okay, the first grenade pick, okay, you know, you can accept that. It's a fairly bad loss. You lose the nitro cell, but you didn't know that he was down. You didn't know there was a Yana down there. That information must have been relayed, but it wasn't acted upon because Sen was still free to then march all the way over to stock and nade out another player in cash. So that just completely crumbles the sort of extension. It gives Jar, I believe, the position to just move into cash, pinch that red player, kill them, and then suddenly it's a 2 versus 5. Your extension is gone, crumbled completely. And that's all without even dealing really with the Jacuzzi wall, which I thought would be a real weakness there. But they were just incredibly good at that roam player, and now it's ESG to going all the way back downstairs into the basement, and we could potentially see a sort of full 5-7 down here again, but they can't really trick you on twice. Surely they bring a lot of quick aggression, so a roam has to sort of be committed here, I'd imagine, because if you give them all that freedom, they will just happily take it, they will read into it this time, and they will be banging on your doors with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, it's a tricky situation for Eternal Synergy. Obviously, they need 4 in a row here to have a chance at even getting the point. Obviously, if they don't get to overtime, they take away 0. If they at least get to OT, they at least secure 1. On the other side, Yacht have their first point of the tournament here. But this is a surprise. Not surprise, but it's a party for Yod at this point. You know, they have that early success that we didn't see them have in that first week. This is a new look Yod, to be completely honest with you. In that cafe against Pulse, they just looked completely outclassed, and I'm going to be honest, and the community also didn't expect this. You know, Pulse Nation was a completely unknown entity to us. Yod had like 70% of the community vote, and they got absolutely shut down. So, looking towards this game, it's very nice to see Yod, you know, back where they should be. You know, this is a team and an org that's been sort of at the top of the PlayStation scene for so long, but it did feel kind of wrong to see them take that 7-1 loss last week.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the only sort of upset here. There's been a lot of wild results coming out, so Yod, they were just sort of the latest victim to that sort of newcomer curse, I suppose. But looking at this round, I mean, Yod is kind of a bit slow here. Once again, it's a 5-man hold down below. So they've just been caught in the same old trick. It's a bit faster paced, but 1 minute 30 is kind of the time you expect to be seeing with the attack getting control here when you're dealing with that roam, right? But they kind of just once again wasted time, so it is going to put a lot more pressure onto them when it comes to the execute, because ESG, just letting them have it, they're content holding their angles, holding their positions. Critical play does start being there as they begin pushing ESG back closer and closer into sight. But still, we're going to have to start relying on hatch drops now. Though, potentially be the key to this attack if we just use him.
Yeah, with 55 seconds, his position now noted by the Malicious Starmeister behind that AK's box, but Kanzi has actually dropped into the side, is in a position to get something done, and Scrim down the stairs finds 1, Kiama a second, Rissa with a trade before being shut out by Kiama the butt, finding 2 on the bomb side. Exia finds Sen, but the diffuser's going down, being planted. Spyro tries to throw the C4, but can't get anything done. Exia now in a 1 versus 3 to save the map for his team. The track sting is going to be dealing a little bit more damage and is only on about 70 points of health. Cannot really afford too much of that with 3 players left to find, especially how Kiama and Kanzi, despite having damage taken off of them, well, it's not even going to matter as Kiama finds it. A 7-2 victory, and I just looked at the community vote. 76% of people voted for Eternal Synergy, and 76% of people going to be sorely disappointed with that one. Yod Esports. What a game!
They've had a complete glow up there. They looked much sort of more in control compared to their opponents here, but compared to themselves last match as well. Really, it's really nice to see. Really, just you don't want to see a team down the dumps consistently. It just doesn't make for good matches. So this kind of unpredictable nature of Yod, it's been very entertaining, and I guarantee it's just been nicer for them in the Yod camp.
Yeah, absolutely. They're certainly going to be a lot happier about this game, especially considering, you know, they had a bit of a crushing loss the last time around. So this time, I mean, 7-2, that's pretty much just the other extreme, right?
Yeah.
That has got to feel good as a team that didn't necessarily have the best of times last week.
Yeah, they've sort of absolved themselves of
Yeah.
sort of the sins of last week. But looking at our schedule, we have a bit of an announcement to make. We were supposed to have 3 matches today, but due to just sort of scheduling conflicts, the second match is not being played. So we're actually going to have quite an extended break, and that's going to involve us just going offline. Just don't want to waste your time. So follow us on socials. We'll be back, I believe, where
About
in about an hour, I'd
in
imagine.
about an hour's ish. Maybe a bit longer because this was a very quick game. So
yeah, it's a very quick game. We don't have the second match being played, so we'll be back at around sort of 9:45 CEST, I believe. To do a bit of pre-match stuff, get us into that final map, and then we'll play that. We'll have that map played ahead of us. So we'll see you. We'll see you in a bit.
In a while.
In a while.